All right, good morning. All right, let's be real here. Okay, so one of my main problems in life, okay, and a lot of people from trauma homes probably deal with this, okay, so this is going to start my morning ritual thing. Okay, so my main problem is in life is that I come from a family that always like to create enemies, right? So I watched their relationships growing up, and they like to create enemies, right? So I would watch this for years and years and years and years, and also being from a home of neglect and trauma and abuse, I would always get yelled at, or I would always feel like I was going to get in trouble. So now I always feel like I'm going to be in trouble. I'm going to get yelled at by people, so I'm scared of people, right? So I think that the only way to, and because of that, my testosterone is way too high. It's like my testosterone is like through the roof, right? Where I am, like, I need to like just chill with the violence and the shadow, and it's great to embrace everything about yourself and to know everything about yourself and to feel healthy anger. But for me, my trauma is so through the roof that I am immediately distrusting of others, right? So I will think that, I'll be in trouble with them. They're going to yell at me. There's something, I'm doing something wrong. And then I will ruminate on those thoughts. And then I'll start to think too much about it. And then I'll start to dislike that person. Or I'll become more and more scared of that person. Or on my confident days, I'll start to think I'm more powerful than that person. And I could destroy that person, right? So... So how do you get through that one, right? This is why I like having 5-minute friends, and I don't like having people in my life, because if I live with somebody, I become very scared of them, or I want to destroy them, right? So this is the one thing that I have to work on. As far as doing what I want in this world, I feel like I'm getting to a point where I am starting to understand who I am today in this present moment and what I want to do. And I'm going to do it regardless of the opinions of others. And that feels very good that I have that level of confidence. But the only way that I got there, and the only way that I'm going to continue to be there, is to do the things that I'm very, very scared to do. Very scared to do. And the more and more I face those things that I'm very, very scared to do, the more and more I'll have the courage to do them. Also, as far as facing this trauma thing, I just have to constantly, watch this video, and I always have to just recognize that and be like, no, that's not your essence. That's not who you are. That's the trauma. The reason why I have such an insane shadow is because of my traumatic childhood, from getting yelled at, always feeling like I was going to be in trouble, living in a home with kind of a borderline personality disorder mother, right? These are all symptoms of something that could create a being that can destroy people, right? And somebody that has a very strong shadow. And is also very untrusting of others. So I just have to recognize that, understand that, and understand that that's not my true being in the present moment. That's my trauma. So whenever I'm starting to feel that, I need to jump back in the present moment and understand that all life is just the present moment, and everything that I am is just the present moment. It has nothing to do with other people, and it has nothing to do with that trauma self from the past. Because that trauma self from the past isn't necessarily real. That's just a story, I guess. But it's very easy to get wrapped back up in that person, that story. But to not go into that story, to realize that life is the present moment, and to not get wrapped up in, oh, what's my meaning and what's my purpose? by researching and listening to Joseph Campbell, I'm starting to realize that I should never get focused on what's my meaning, why am I here, what's my purpose. It's more of, am I in heaven in this moment? And where is my bliss state? And where is my bliss state in this moment? Because all there is this present moment, And as long as I have rituals and I study and I'm responsible, I could stay on that path of being present and being in bliss. And once I step out of bliss, recognize it, be like, oh crap, I'm not in bliss right now. One of the reasons why I decided to film this video is because I started to get violent and I started to think unhealthy thoughts. And I was like, you gotta chill out with this testosterone and this violence. And you need to understand that that's not it. And that's not who you are. Like, that's great. You can incorporate that into yourself and understand that you have a bigger shadow than most people. Shadow is Carl Jung. You have a greater shadow than most people, but you need to understand that that's a part of you, but you can't let that control your life. And if you allow yourself to go too far into that shadow, you need to understand, just like Jordan Peterson said, the reason why he, and Carl Jung, they both believe that people that have a very big shadow, that can become violent easily, it's their obligation to be a better person and a kinder and a more loving person, because they know the atrocities that they could commit to other people if they don't commit to being the most loving person as possible. To know it's there, yes, incorporate everything that you are into yourself and understand that, so you could fully love others and love yourself as well. So that's very important. But, don't get wrapped up in like, oh, what's my meaning in life? Oh my God, what's my purpose? Because that'll just drive me crazy. That'll drive anybody crazy. But just to follow your bliss, be in the present moment, and be responsible, and follow those guidelines, and you'll be all right. But being present is the most optimal thing. And by incorporating everything into yourself, the shadow, your violence, healthy aggression, everything about yourself, your flaws, your strengths, everything about yourself, by understanding yourself, you'll love yourself more and you'll love others more, because you'll understand yourself more and you'll understand other people more. Just by, if somebody upsets you and you say, how am I that? Just by asking yourself that question, you'll be like, oh, well, I'm like that too. And, I should never expect anybody to be a certain way. And I don't think anybody should be a certain way. Because who am I to say that about anybody? Because I've been there. But yeah, courage, strength, hero's journey, present moment, and incorporate all things of yourself and know your flaws. If know your flaws so you don't cause others to suffer and yourself to suffer. As soon as you start to get angry or violent, just be like, okay, why? Like, why am I going here? There's nothing wrong right now. This is the present moment. What happened in my past? And if there is something wrong, address it and have the hard conversation with that person. But with me, I never have a problem with anybody. I just make up the stories that I'm having problems with people. It's really deranged thing. And that's because of the trauma. Okay, guys, thank you so much for everything. Have a great day. Booyah! Later.